if you have any kind of social life or business life, you're not gonna be able to eat out of Tupperware every single day. I know this goes against what your favorite influencer says with those mountain high stacks of Tupperware, but realistically, if you have dinners, if you have a partner, if you have business dinners to go to, you're gonna have to eat off plan sometimes. Or you can be a social outcast and get like broccoli and chicken. Or you can be that guy that just doesn't eat when you go to a dinner. Don't be that guy. A lot of what we do as people is connect over food, right? Food and socializing are an integral part of life. If you don't know how to handle that, you're gonna be thrown off course every time you eat out, and that's why you're not gonna get any results. So today, I thought I'd go over an actual practical example of what it looks like to go out to a restaurant. I'll pick one of the nicer restaurants where I live, and how you select what you're gonna order in order to stay on plan. Because it's actually quite complicated when you think about it, especially if you don't have too much food knowledge. So we're gonna keep this super practical. There's a lot of woo-woo, rah-rah information out there about prioritizing your health and choosing healthy options, but what does that actually look like? We're gonna keep that nice and brief. I'm gonna go through a menu right now. I'm gonna show you what I think about when I look at a menu and how to choose things. So let's begin. So the one thing about slightly nicer restaurants is half the things you're not even gonna know what they are. At least I don't. I've been to these places quite a lot and I still look at a menu, I'm like, what the hell even is that? We're gonna work through it together, okay? I've chosen a restaurant called Amano. It's quite a nice restaurant where I live in Auckland. I've been to a few business dinners here, a few dates here. I know my way around the menu relatively okay, but they change it all the time, so it's gonna be quite a fresh experience for me. So we're gonna start at the top. You walk in, you pick up your menu, all your mates are ordering cheese, pasta and shit, pizza. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna be strategic with what we're ordering because we want a nice physique and we need to hold that nice physique throughout our entire life, okay? Because it's part of who we are. So we start at the top. This menu is interesting. I'm immediately seeing this menu is interesting. So the top section, dairy. Personally, I don't eat a whole lot of dairy. I find it tends to bloat me. Dairy products are often very high in fat. Yes, they have protein in them, but typically the fat outpaces the protein. So if I look at this section dairy, I already know I'm probably not gonna order anything from it, but we'll go through the items, right? Number one, mozzarella on bread, basically, with olive oil. As you can imagine, that's very, very high in fat and high in carbs. There is no protein there. Yes, there's some in the cheese, but the fat from the olive oil in the cheese is gonna outweigh any protein, so we're gonna ignore that. Next, figs, high in sugar. It's a dessert in some countries, we're gonna ignore that. Burrata is cheese, tomato, garlic, and basil again. So this whole area at the top is pretty much mozzarella. If we're trying to be in shape, I'm sorry, we're not gonna be eating much mozzarella. It's delicious, you can have it every now and then, maybe if you're here for a cheat meal, but if you're eating out at places like this regularly, getting the odd cheese starter is gonna add up. So we're gonna ignore the dairy section completely. We're gonna move on. Seafood. Now this is something we could be interested in. So kingfish crudo, fennel, orange, and chili. That's an okay option. Fish is very high in protein. Crudo. I'm struggling to remember what crudo actually is. I don't think it's anything bad for you though. I sound uncultured. Like I say, when you go to places like this, oftentimes I don't know what half the shit is, but you gradually get more of an appreciation for it. Pate is a spread. I'm not really interested in that. Monkfish. That monkfish fillet is looking quite good. See, a lot of these options, the good thing about going to slightly nicer places is they'll typically have the proteins separated from the carbs. The carbs will come as sides, which is great for us because we can order a main, which is pretty much just protein. And if we want carbs, we have to choose it separately. And typically when you're choosing the carbs separately, you can also opt for just greens or something like that. We'll see as we go down. So a few of these options are good. We want something high protein that's not too fancy and strange. We don't want pate. Yeah, see, that one's all right too. So a few of those items in the seafood section are okay because they're high in protein, don't appear to be too high in fat or carbs. Pasta, I think you know where we're going with this. Most pastas we're gonna stay away from purely because they're so high in carbs and so high in calories. Also, to make pasta taste good, you typically use a lot of salt, sugar, and oil. Those things are all delicious, but they're not gonna help us achieve our fitness goals. So we're gonna quickly skim through this pasta section. Is there anything here we could potentially eat? Not particularly. We're gonna give pasta a miss. Now onto a section I know is gonna pay off dividends, the meat section. Typically when we're in the meat section, I'll look for 3 different meats. One is fish, we've already covered the seafood section. Second is chicken, the third is beef. I will stay away from pork. I see here there's venison, lamb. Those are all quite high in fat. I think venison is quite lean, but I don't eat it that much. I don't really like it, so I tend to ignore it on menus. A few options here that are great. That char grilled chicken is probably the leading option from the menu. It's also free range, which is nice. Steak, tomato, capers, and chili, that's another great one. Yeah, so those are the 2 I'd go for. I'd either go for the chicken or the steak there. Typically what I get anytime I go anywhere. Vegetables. Okay, you're out, you're having a good time, you can order a side. There are some nice sides here. Okay, cucumber, sesame, chili, and almond. That's all right. The almond's gonna be kind of high in fat and calories, so just be aware of that, but they'll probably be quite a small portion. Baby cos, goddess, anchovy, and parmesan. Cheese has sort of been put in there for some reason. Strawberry and cultured cream. That is a very strange vegetable. Strawberry is a fruit. Because of the strangeness of that and the fact that there's cultured cream with it, I would give that a miss. Cream's very high in fat. Red Rascal potatoes and mint butter. If I was having a cheat day, that's me. That's what I would order. But I'm not. We're here to be healthy. Char-grilled courgette, aioli, and lemon and chives. Yeah, so of these sides, I would either choose the cucumber or I'd choose the courgette. Pretty simple. It might seem intimidating, but in reality, you only ever look for a few things. You look for a good protein source and then a side of vegetables, and then you're literally straight. It's as though you're still eating on plan. Yes, there'll be a few extra calories because they'll cook with extra oil. They'll use salt, fat. Salt isn't calories, but you know what I mean? Like they'll make it taste delicious, so it will have a few extra calories of deliciousness in there. But if you acknowledge that and you prepare for it, you can still get a pretty damn nice meal and not feel like you've cheated on your diet. Dessert isn't included on here. I can try and find it. Dessert, there we go. They will always bring out dessert for you, always, because that's where they make their money at these restaurants, right? Desserts typically have the highest margins because they're made of cheap ingredients. They make them in bulk. Obviously, if we're on a fitness journey, dessert's probably not something we're gonna opt for. I'll see if I can find something. If everyone orders a dessert, what will we order? Because you do look like a bit of an ass when everyone orders dessert and you're like, I'm not eating dessert. You look like a bit of a knob. So sometimes it's okay to order dessert, but we'll see if there's anything here that I would pick. Obviously stay away from the alcohol. It's empty calories. It's gonna interfere with protein synthesis. Cheese, don't really want to spend $20 on a little thing of brie. Also, it's just fat. Cheese is just like straight into your mouth and straight to your stomach. It's just fat. What would I choose of these? Honestly, probably none of them. The best one there, health-wise, is probably the sorbet scoop, the strawberry sorbet scoop. Basically strawberry fruit ice cream. It's not the best for you, but it's probably the healthiest of these. So if everyone's getting a dessert, that's what I would choose. And there you have it. That's a little taster of what it looks like to go out to a nice restaurant, still eat on plan, still socialize, be a cool guy, make a good impression on your dinner guests without breaking the bank of calories and without sacrificing your fitness goals. It can be done. If you want more videos like this, you want a few more in-depth tutorials, you got some particular restaurants you want to go through. If any of my clients go out to dinner and they're not sure, I get them to send me the menu and I help them choose. That's kind of what we did today. If you want more videos like that, subscribe and I will see you in the next one.